the world's a little bit yucky right now. It's a little bit mixed up with the whole...
Getting better.
with coronavirus, but I think other issues have come into play now with the
Yeah.
whole Black Lives Matter. Look, I wanted to sort of make a segue into this topic. Of course, big news this week is that Dele Alli will miss his first game back against Manchester United. After him posting a video on Snapchat, he's at an airport, Vats, and he's pretty much points the camera at a certain ethnicity and says the coronavirus has got to be faster to catch up with me or something. Obviously, whether it was intended or not, there was a racial, slur there. And he's been given a £50,000 fine as well.
It's nothing for him.
Nothing for him, but we've got FIFA endorsing the whole say no to racism. There's been this talk about it. Obviously, he's coloured. And we've seen all the racism, unfortunately, around football the last couple of seasons with coloured people. And it's a little bit insensitive of him to behave the way that he did. It's just a segue into the whole Black Lives Matter thing at the moment.
Yeah, look, that video of him was actually... It's not new. Like, we've seen it when the coronavirus and stuff happened. I think that they did a very judgmental decision into what's actually happening. Like, I'm talking about from the FA perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a problem, they would have done it on the spot. Why wait till the Premier League's just about to start to handle, like, to put a fine out and then to ban him from a game when everyone's trying to prep up their best to get the league started?
Mm-hmm.
I get it's wrong from them. Wrong from him, I should say. But, look, this whole racism topic is so sensitive. Like, not just football, just in general. Do you know what I mean? Where even Raheem Sterling came out and said that, where he believes that black coaches don't get as much often considered for high level jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking into that and all that type of stuff, and apparently across 91 managers across all the entire football English league, the 91 managers, 6 of them are considered non-white background.
Okay.
But does that really fall down to the fact of skin color, or does it fall down to results? Does that make sense? Where are people actually being considered for jobs and then going, okay, no, but we're picking him because he's white? Or are they actually going, man, I'm picking him because he's better? Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of hard to say, yeah, they are, and yeah, they aren't. But from a ratio perspective, the numbers perspective, obviously supports the cause.
Mm-hmm.
But we look at some of the managers that Sterling actually said himself. One of them was Sol Campbell. Okay, now this guy is currently managing Macclesfield. I remember I actually searched how to say this town's name. I think it was Macclesfield Town. Okay, so he's currently coaching Southend United, but he started at Macclesfield Town.
Mm-hmm.
Now the stats for this is played 30, won 8, drew 12, lost 10.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a win percentage of just under 27%.
Yeah, not the greatest.
Not the greatest, right?
Yeah.
So then we go, okay, maybe it was just a one-off. Maybe it was just, he was just having a bad time and, players were just underperforming, injuries, blah, blah, blah. Let's just say that hypothetically. Now he's coaching at Southend United. So he's played 23. He's won 4. He's drawn 5. And he's lost 14.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a win percentage of less than 18%.
It's worse.
So, again, I'm not saying every coach of
Coloured
background is Sol Campbell's stats here.
Yeah.
There could be amazing players. There could be amazing coaches out there that are just flying under the radar and just not working. Do you know? But to throw his name out there, you surely got to back him up here.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying Sol Campbell, but I'm not going to pick... I doubt a Premier League team's going to pick him when the stats speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are putting names like Gerrard, and they're putting Lampard out there. And it's just more like, okay, Gerrard's at Rangers, okay, and he's doing quite a good job, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get Celtic pretty much wins the league every single year, but he sort of feels like he's getting the knowledge needed to... How can I say it? The knowledge needed to go and say, okay, you know what, I coach the team. I not only try to challenge for the title. I'm in the Europa League and I'm doing my best. He's getting experience from, say, a sort of major league and European football. While you got another manager like Sol Campbell in this scenario who's struggling to even win games. So who are you going to pick?
Yeah, that's true. And we're not saying here that Sol Campbell is the benchmark of all
100%.
coloured coaches. I mean, you have coaches like Frank Rijkaard, who I would consider is coloured.
Yeah.
And he's a legendary coach.
And look what he did at Barca.
Yeah. So we're not basing it off, but like, I think it's a whole thing, and this is probably going to get us in, I don't know, another can of worms here, but the whole, like, you know, with the feminist movement, they're saying that, you know, most highly promoted people are white men. At the same time, like, it's hard to look at statistics and say, okay, this is happening or it's not happening. But you bring up a good point. If they're doing their jobs, then they're going to be promoted and take on bigger teams in bigger leagues.
But see, I think from a feminist perspective, I shouldn't say feminist, from a feminism perspective, it's a lot more different in my opinion, because here we're talking about skin color, and over there we're looking at two different completely like topics here, because one, yeah, is skin color, you can address that, but the male dominated sport for football generates a lot more revenue than the women's side does, unfortunately. Now, I'm pretty sure I read a stat that the women's side for the US-based national team, football team, actually did earn more money over a set year, I think, than the men did. Okay. In that scenario, pay them more. I don't disagree with that. But you can't come and tell me that the Australian women's team, okay, and the Australian men's team, for example, when they were going for the World Cup, when they're making the last 16, when there's much more revenue, when there's sponsorships coming out of their asses and all that type of stuff, you got to balance the revenue stream there. You're going to pay the women's team, say hypothetically, 10 million, but the revenue is only $1 million. That federation is going to bust.
Yeah.
So you're not going to pay the Portuguese women's team the same rate you're going to be paying the men's team. Yeah. Because that's just the way sport is, unfortunately. And that's not just football. You know, you look at tennis, it's the same thing. A lot of people have the argument, would you rather watch Federer and Nadal or Serena and whoever's number two? And majority of the time, you're going to pick the two GOATs of all time. Yeah. So, look, when it comes to this whole racism thing, I don't think it falls down to skin color per se. I think it's just more along the lines of, unfortunately, the selection pool, where teams like Tottenham Hotspur, for example, or I'll give you the best example here, Newcastle United. We talk about their takeover. Who's the first two names that came to our heads? Yeah, it's Rafa Benitez, Mauricio Pochettino. But are we going to go? But we need to add someone of skin color there because to balance the ratio out.
That's the thing. Those people, those two names are not necessarily white. You know what I mean? They're still people of color.
I think it's more along the line they're looking for, like, from the way Sterling is talking about it, from the way that it's just being portrayed in the media, it's literally one color or no color. Yeah. As simple as that. It's not, we're finding a middle ground sort of thing here. But look, even from a sense of Black Lives Matter we're talking about, okay, you look at Thierry Henry. He went and managed and did absolutely horrible, okay? Does that mean that we go, okay, but we got to give him another chance because he's a bit more dark-skinned? Yeah. But Gary Neville went to Valencia and flopped fucking immensely. I wouldn't hire him. I'll probably get Sol Campbell to fucking manage more than Gary Neville. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, this guy's that skin color, and make my decision. I'm going to make, what's your stats? Yeah. Are you fitted for my team? Simple as that.
Best man for the job.
It is the best man for the job.
I don't think there's a question of black players getting paid less than white players in the league or anything like that. It's just from a strictly managerial thing that he's complaining about, Raheem Sterling.
I think he's more just saying the opportunities to come forward to coloured players or coloured coaches or coloured referees, for example. Look, at the end of the day, if you're telling me the best referee on earth is a coloured person or a black or whatever, a tanned person, whatever you want to call him, okay, pick him. I don't care. Yeah. If he's the best for the job. If it's a woman that's best for the job, pick her. I don't care. And I'm pretty sure if someone's doing an amazing job on the field, you're not going to go, oh, they're doing it because they're such or they're X, if, for example. But look,
In saying that, look, a lot of this argument comes down to, oh, you guys are white, so you're privileged. You see that if there is a thing where black coaches aren't being given an opportunity where we don't even get to see their stats and how they're performing at these teams or whatever, then that's something that we can't see from an outsider.
correct.
If this is happening, then definitely there should be an uprise and there should be people voicing their opinions about it. But from how you've explained it, saying we should be picking the best man for the job, whether they're black, they're white, they're purple. I've never been in that scene, so I don't understand. I don't know if there is a better black candidate who is not being picked
100%.
because of his skin. So we offside talk have said it many times that we're completely against racism. We're all for equal opportunity. We are not saying here that, and we're not basing these off 2 or 3 statistics that we found on coaches who've performed badly. We're just saying if there isn't an opportunity for these black and white people to get the job and they're not performing, then they should be replaced, whether they're white, brown, or purple.
Exactly. Like, I mean, we look at Pele, 3 World Cups. Am I going to keep him off a list of greatest players of all time?
No, definitely not.
Exactly. So, look, at the end of the day, it might, again, just to re-irritate, if that makes sense, because, like I said, it is a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Best man for the job or best woman for the job, I don't care. If they're getting results, that's what matters in football. Again, if I have to give even a broader opinion here, there's too much political correctness currently happening across everything, where a lot of associations are getting involved in aspects and sort of pushing their agendas to people, when, again, this is a sport. Do you know what I mean? We're watching people go on there. We're not forcing children to agree with something that they have no idea about, and constantly flooding marketing medias and stuff like that. Just stick to the sport, okay? If there's harassment going on, deal with the harassment. If there's racism going on, deal with it. Like, it's generally not that hard. And you know what the funny thing is as well? So Dele Alli did that, and it's considered racism, okay? And he gets a 1-match ban, okay? When a fan does it, it's lifetime.
Yeah, true.
When Suarez did it, it's 7-8 games. Okay, I understand it's a different context. I understand Suarez also bit people, but if you come out and say, okay, you know what, you're proven to be racist. You want to set a hard line here. Okay, you're found out to be doing racist stuff, man. 15 games.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think what it came down to, from what I was reading, is that it was implied racism, so it wasn't directly
Correct.
saying that. So there was the whole. In fact, Dele Alli appealed for it and said, I wasn't being racist. And FA said, no, there was, what's the word?
Applied.
Not applied. There's, I just said it before.
It's gone out of my head too,
Anyway, like he was suggesting that there was racism involved. So, that's why they've given him the 1 match. I think if he was blatantly racist and he said, oh, this man is of this background and that's why he might have coronavirus, then I think it would have been a lot more, harshly punished.